Now, before we ease on down this road, I do want to let it be known that there is not much of a difference between the divine masculine and the healthy masculine, or the masculine within its healthy state. Okay, because somebody in the comments is always going to leave something like, oh, well, this just sounds like masculinity, or this just sounds like positive or healthy masculinity. Yes, they are one and the same. The reason I use divine is not just because it's trendy and it's culturally relevant, but instead because I believe that within us all is divinity. So these characteristics are going to be ones that you should be able to recognize within the masculine. And if not, then you know what you're dealing with, whether within yourself or within your partner, within the one in your life or the ones in your life. And this will allow you to discern the difference, and also to have a different level of appreciation and reverence for masculinity in the way that it should be showing up. Because we have now created a culture that, is anti-male, anti-female, anti-masculine, anti-feminine, as opposed to appreciating what we bring into this world with one another and for one another, what we can truly offer in this world, and what we have been bringing into this life experience since the dawn of time, since the beginning of our own species. So that being said, let's get into the 3 characteristics of the divine masculine. Number 1. The divine masculine is a builder as opposed to a destroyer. Now, depending on your own spiritual philosophy, you may have a belief that, well, in order for one to be able to build, one must also be able to destroy. And yes, this is true. Light and dark, yin and yang, yin yang, I guess is the actual pronunciation of it. You can call me out if I'm wrong. Or the positive and negative charge of something. I understand that. But what I'm referring to is in the most practical sense. When you look around you right now, the infrastructure that you're currently in, if it's a house, some sort of building, apartment complex, if it's a store, wherever you may be, this is an example of the divine masculine, the builder, the one who looks to create shelter, who sees a problem or sees a need and fulfills that need with some sort of tangible solution. They are a build. The word man is short for manifest, the one who brings into physical reality, you see. And so when you are in a relationship dynamic with the individual who is in their divine masculinity, who is centered in a healthy state of masculinity, the one who is healed from their childhood trauma is not living from a traumatized state, but instead from a divine space. This individual is going to look to build the environment as well as to build the ones around them up in the same way they build themselves up. A representation can be one who goes into the gym and is building up their body, one who is going into their career and is building up their career. Everything is centered towards building, whereas one who is in the unhealthy masculine space or state of consciousness is going to be destroying the ones around him, destroying the self-esteems, destroying the worthiness of those around him, their wife, their children, the whoever it is that they may be partnered with in business relationships, their friends, their family dynamics. This may even manifest itself out as some sort of addiction, etc., right? Where it becomes so materialized in a different way. I'm not saying that this isn't the case for both masculine and feminine. I'm just saying that these are the tendencies of the masculine. When the masculine is in a healthy state, when it is in its divine nature, its true natural essence, it is going to look to build. It wants to build up. It wants to expand. That is not a negative. We've been sold a bill of goods. Oh, that's toxic masculinity. No, the toxicity is when it's looking to destroy, when it's looking to do the opposite, right? When it's rooted in the negative aspects of its ego, not when it looks to build up or create legacy even in a positive and a healthy and constructive way, but instead the opposite. So that's number 1, builds instead of destroys. Number 2 is the divine masculine is protective as opposed to aggressive. Now, this might be a little controversial as far as the wording, but follow the logic. The divine masculine is going to look to protect, as you've heard, protector and provider, right? You've probably heard those throughout the entirety of your life. Protect and provide, protect and provide. So the protective element is one that looks to preserve the good. So The healthier divine masculine will see their family, they'll see their community, and they will look to protect. And we often think of protect in just the physical sense, right? Somebody breaks into the house and the man is the first one to step in and do something about that, right? Something happens problem-wise in the household, and he's the first one to step in the line of fire, in essence. There is that aspect of protection, but there's also mental and emotional protection. That's why a good father or a good husband or, a quote unquote good man, a man in his divine masculine will defend the mentality of his people. So he will speak truth to power. He will be unafraid to speak the truth, even if it is unpopular and it's going to mean that he's in the line of fire, so long as he's going to protect his family, right? And we've seen this only in rare cases, unfortunately, because so many have bowed the knee to the machine. So many are so deeply afraid to speak their truth, so afraid to be canceled or disliked or whatever it is. And so instead, that protective element turns into aggression, or even sometimes passive aggressive, which is you find this type of individual who doesn't know how to express this energy that wants to go out. And again, we think it's a warring energy. We think it's an attack energy. It's not an attack energy. It's a protective energy. But when it's turned on itself, when it's turned upside down on some Fresh Prince of Bel-Air type stuff, when it's flipped on itself, it becomes aggressive. And that's when it becomes the attacker as opposed to the protector. You see how that works? This is just, it's like, again, with with build and destroy, it's the inverse. Instead of building up, it wants to tear down. Instead of protecting, it now is aggressing. Now it's, essentially becoming the very thing that the one that's supposed to be protecting is trying to protect themselves from. You see, when you have these individuals who are in places of quote unquote power and they do not dwell or exist within their divine masculinity, instead of protecting their nation, instead of protecting their citizens and the constituents, the ones that they're responsible for, instead of protecting their communities and their neighborhoods, they become aggressors. You could see this in, the doughboy who's supposed to be a leader in that environment, right? The leader of the drug organization or the gang or whatever it may be, who's supposed to be a leader of the space, now becomes an aggressor of that space. The businessman who's supposed to be a leader, who's supposed to protect, is now becoming the aggressor. And so that is a clear and distinct quality of the divine masculine. They have a protective energy about them. They're going to protect and preserve what is right. And when they stop doing that, something is off. And again, when you look at our culture today, there is so much of that going on. And it's deeper than politics. Politics is just a mirage that is used. It's so much deeper. It's really a story of what we've accepted as a society, what we've accepted as people, how we've given away our humanity and traded it for, some sense of convenience in a way, and false protection, really, as opposed to the true protective element of the divine. You see a father who loves his daughter, loves his son, is going to look to protect them. Is going to go out of their way to do so. It's not even going to be a question for that individual. You do my people wrong, it's on sight. You come into our space and you it's on sight. Some of the spiritual sisters and brothers may be thinking to themselves, I don't know, that sounds a little violent. Trust me, when it is in the divine state, it is going to do everything humanly possible to protect and preserve that light. Trust me. It's not going to be no damn kumbaya when it's time to not be a kumbaya. Number 3, it leads as opposed to leaves. Let me run that back. Number 3 is the divine masculine leads as opposed to leaves. Now, the reason I did this one, because this one, it might not sound like one you've ever heard before, because again, I wrote these from my own psyche. I wrote these from my own personal experience. And the last one, again, is a little bit of a play on words. And so the leading aspect should be obvious. However, for many of us, we haven't experienced true leadership, especially in the household, unfortunately, right? We've created a society in which we have, devalued the family, devalued healthy relationship dynamics. And so, fathers are displaced from the homes, and, mothers are basically put in a position where they have to raise the family by themselves and play the masculine and feminine roles, and now stepping out of their natural state. All of this has been a byproduct of, again, politics. The ones who wanted to have power, and then we gave them our power. These individuals are reaping the quote unquote benefits, or really the destruction on the other side of what's going on. But nevertheless, in true leadership quality, a leader is one who does the thing first. That's an actual leader. Now, you are used to a boss, you're used to a supervisor, you're used to somebody nagging you about doing something that they themselves are not doing. I will never tell you to do something I won't do. If you're a part of my camp, you're a part of my squad. You're a part of my first team is my wifey, right? And then the babies that we produce and bring into this life. That's the first squad. These individuals, I cannot tell to live in a certain way or to direct to do certain things that I am not already doing, or not even just doing, but that I'm double time, right? I have to be doing the thing here to even have the expectation of you doing it here. That's true leadership. True leaders lead from the front. They're not in the back yelling. I'm pretty sure you've seen that graphic before, right? Of a guy who's being pulled like on some type of, not chariot, is it? Or some type of wagon, right? And he's yelling instructions from the back, and the ones in the front are just pulling it. That's not a leader. A leader is the one with the front of the rope who is pulling the hardest. They're making sure that we're going to get to where we need to get to. That is true leadership. True leadership leads from the front. Then you have those who leave. Now, unfortunately, we've gotten to see an entire generation who has left. And this one might be a triggering one a little bit, but again, everything I say is from a place of love, and it's only for us to get to a place of healing. That is my intention. Get back to wholeness, to get back to a place where we can fully express what we are and who we are, to get back to developing healthy relationship dynamics with ourselves, therefore with one another, so we can create healthy relationships within our communities, within our households, because that's the first community, and then the broader community. But it starts with the individual. So back to the point at hand. The one that leaves, unfortunately, in droves, we have seen the ones that have left, the ones that have not taken accountability and responsibility. Because again, leadership is the highest level of responsibility. Don't be fooled. You're told that, oh, I want to be boss girl, boss boy, whatever it is. And I'm just, everybody, like I'm at the top and everybody's below me. That's not what true leadership is about. Being a boss is about doing the things that nobody else is willing to do. The unpopular thing in most cases. When you speak the truth when nobody else is willing to speak that truth, you're being a leader. And sometimes there's going to be arrows at your back. The very people who might be supposed to be following your lead might be shooting arrows at you. But you have to continue to move forward in truth. Now, many have opted to leave, and leaving means leaving a personal responsibility. And unfortunately, we've seen it in the most heartbreaking and unfortunate ways. I recently did a video with our brother Cam Newton, or brother Cam Newton, maybe not our brother, because he's not my brother. I mean, with this mentality, I'm sorry, like I'm not here to judge you, my man, but if you are celebrating the fact that you have 8 different children with 3 different mothers, none of which you have committed to, and you want more, that is a representation of a lack of leadership. You could have $1 billion in the bank account, liquid cash. You can get anything that you want at any point in time, and you could still not be a leader. You could have the ability to provide material things forever, for generations, and you're still not a leader. You can be the most high status individual and still not be a leader. That's why I also have a problem with the red pill, amongst many other things, besides the fact that it tears us apart and it creates for more dysfunctional relationships, is that it doesn't teach true divine or healthy masculinity, which is to take responsibility over all of one's life, which means all of one's life. If I tell you that I am now taking responsibility over you, I owe that to you now. If I don't tell you that, then it's different, right? But I bring you into this world. I put a baby in you now. I'm responsible for that now. I'm responsible for that. That child, that life right there, I'm responsible for. You and I may have a falling out. You and I may not get along. You and I may not exchange a single word at a certain point. But for that child, I am responsible for that child. And so one who is not in their leadership quality is in their leave-hership. You understand me? They're going to leave a situation. And again, this ain't just constrained to relationships. There's going to be a fear commitment in all respects. And that's when I made this transition from a boy to a man, was when I realized, bruh, you're afraid of commitment and it's affecting every aspect of your life. You can't commit to your business. You can't commit to, something like this. To every day you say you're going to put something out, then put something out every day. Stop starting, then stopping, then starting, then stopping, then whining about things aren't happening. Why am I not monetizing at this level? And why am I not able to make a living even though I'm putting out so much great information? Brother, you're not committed to the process. You need to devote yourself to your purpose, devote yourself to your mission, and everything else will take care of itself. You need to be responsible for what you said that you were going to do. But you keep leaving that responsibility. You have a fear of commitment. And when you move from that fear of commitment, you cannot lead. And the divine masculine is one that leads from the front, not hollering in the back, and is damn sure not one that leaves when things are getting tough. Times are tough. We are raising one of the weakest generation of boys and girls. Not men and women, boys and girls, ones who are offended off everything, who can't take no personal responsibility, who are not willing to tell the truth, who are willing to do whatever is going to be the popular opinion, as opposed to doing what is right. And we wonder why we end up having the life circumstances that we have. We've done this to ourselves. So instead of complaining about it, we should look in the mirror and start to, first of all, acknowledge the solution who's right there in that mirror. Right? In AA, what they tell you first, the first thing you must do is to acknowledge, to admit, to be honest about, and only then can you move forward. And that's oftentimes the hardest part, to say, it was me. It was me who did it. It was me who messed up. A brother in the comment section of one of my most recent videos, what was it? Why I Fell in Love with My Queen, I believe is the title of the video. He said, man, but what if you lost your queen? And I was like, damn, or what if your queen leaves, he says. And I said what I said. And eventually said, it was my fault. And I just said to myself, now that's what it is. Now you are becoming a man now. You messed up, acknowledge it. Don't write it off. Don't try to put it on somebody. Well, my baby mama's ex-wife. I don't care if your baby mama is Lucifer herself. Okay? If you chose to be with Lucifer, you made that decision. You put a baby in Lucifer, and then she ended up having the child. Now here you are in this circumstance. You got to take responsibility of that now. You do not leave as the divine master. I know I'm sounding like I'm preaching, because this one really, it struck a chord with me, because this is at the foundation of the biggest ills in society. If you look at it statistically, what happens more times than not to a young man or young woman who are raised in a single parent household, we know what that story's about. We can defend it all we want, because for a lot of us, it is our trauma, right? We can defend it all we want, but when it's all said and done, it doesn't make it right. And so the divine masculine is one that leads and does not leave. Now, I could make a plethora, a multitude of other qualities, but these three are so important because they're what I call foundational. And I like to go at the foundation of things, at the very root of things. It's not to say, like even provision I could have added in here, right? But when one protects, it means they're going to make sure there's a shelter. It's going to make sure there's food on the table. When one leads, they're going to make sure that, they're working and have a certain level of work ethic, certain level of ambition and resilience, because they're showing the qualities that they want to impute on those within their own household. They're not over there playing video games all day, scrolling on the phone all day long, not being proactive, not being fruitful and multiplying, not doing the damn thing. No. They're already going to have these other qualities, but those qualities come as a byproduct, right? When they have a mentality to build, they're already going to want to go out there and go get it. You understand me? But these are the baseline qualities of the divine masculine. So That being said, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Let me know in the comment section what you think, where you're at, how you feel. Whoop-de-whoop, whoop-de-whoop. Throw up your set. I'm playing. I'm not gang affiliated. But, you know, where you from? Send love. I'm sending love from Cali, phone IA. Soon to be somewhere else for a little bit. But appreciate y'all. Till the next time. Peace.
I used to be afraid of the dark, place unknown like a heart in their heart. I used to see my life in the bar. Now the kids unchained, every shackle is lost. 2 steps in the moonlight, 2 step in the daytime. You just know when it feel right. You got a feeling the time's not. See you through those shades that I just threw on. Through my lenses, you just can't do no wrong. I fell in love with myself again. I fell in love with myself. I fell in love with the sunshine. I fell in love with the light. I fell in love with the full moon. I fell in love with the night. I can see the light again. I can see the light. You can see the life in him illuminate the night. I know the time is taking. A 365, that's a full rotation. I see you looking up, you know them constellations. Constantly gazing like house of praises, you get to praising. They see your light shine, that's why they so frustrated. Even the sofa in Nova Scotia will win the bagels.